because there's a pre-selection already happening through the cropping cycles that are in there. So you have to actually think about doing something else. You can have buffer strips of grass or something else, or you can have real biodiversity managed habitats. So our approach is actually to help the farmers to become a better steward of the land. That's where we actually set up the program that I'm now explaining in more depth. The idea is, as I said, to add benefits to both sides of the balance, not just the productivity side. Keep the productivity side important because that's where the benefit comes from for the farm income, but also for the biodiversity side that actually provides other services as well. So what do? We develop targeted seed mixtures that actually can be planted around the farm that do not compete with the crop, typically 2 annual crops. We develop the agronomic protocols because that's the other thing. Farmers are used to agronomic protocols. They want to know how to manage, how to actually do the agronomy. We train the farmers, we have scientific monitoring programs going along with it, and we promote the practical implementation through incentives that we actually built into the way we offer our products. What we deliver, and we have measured that, is urgently needed habitat. We have increased pollinator populations around the margins significantly with this approach. We have enhanced on-farm biodiversity in those farms, and it's more than 1 million hectares that we have already under our protocols. We protect soil and water because we have margins that can help protect. We have a recognition of farmers as stewards of their land. It works very effectively. It was introduced in the UK in 2005, and as I mentioned, today it's running in certain European countries, and we have more than 1 million hectares of farmland with biodiversity margins already out there. We have improved the productivity of the farms and the conservation value, and we get recognition in the meanwhile even by EU legislation that's going to include these margins into the legislative project. And maybe as a final word to say, because that's where the whole thing started, we saw more and more problems with pollinating insects around the field, and we started because we said let's focus on pollination to start with, because without this pollination services, this very important ecosystem services, you can't have the food that. But at the same time, and this is very important to recognize as well, that without the increase of the productivity on that farmland, you will not protect the biodiversity because you will extend more and more and more. So what we are allowing the farmers to do is concentrate, shrink the size of the production site, and leave space for a well-managed biodiversity margin in those landscapes. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much. So our 7th and our final night is looking at a robust accreditation process for reliability and credibility. And we have, instead of John Honteles, who couldn't be with us, we have Marion Carmen from the Forward Stewardship Council.
Yeah, hello. I'm trying to explain quickly how FSC and the Accreditation Services International, ASI, are working together to deliver credible services. And credibility is in fact one of our main assets in FSC. FSC's mission is to promote environmentally appropriate, socially beneficial and economically viable management of the world's forests. To be able to do so, we established standards for forest management. It's one set of principles and criteria, globally valid, and adopted national indicators. We have a global standard, one global standard for chain of custody, and we have a policy for association. In total today we have 160 million hectares certified. It's roughly 4% of the world's forests. They are located in 80 different countries, and there are only 1,100 forest management units. We have 23,000 chain of custody certificates, and there's an estimation that 30% of the commercial wood use today is certified. FSC certified, there's also another certification scheme. What's very important for us that we FSC do not certify, we set the standards together with our stakeholders. And the certification is done by independent certification bodies. And Smartwood Rainforest Alliance is one of the certification bodies. Certification bodies visit at least once a year the certified forest, and the accreditation program I showed earlier is controlling the performance of the auditors. The accreditation program, which controls the auditors, is built on in a global approach because the markets are very diverse, like paper markets. You will understand that all over the world there's quite a diverse range of services offered. We need one global accreditation process. So that's why we established the accreditation services in 2006, before the work was done by units of the FSC. They are now completely independent, and they have professional foresters and professional people from the fishery sector to monitor performance of FSC, but also of MSC and ASI and palm oil accredited certification bodies. Our accreditation bodies are working according to ISO guidelines, which are relevant for the sector. It's for the 17011. Oh, this one. Okay, this is a quick overview how the accreditation process works. We have the there's a document review of the application papers. What's this? Yeah, okay.
Surveillance process.
Okay, fast. If I can show you the overview later. What is the main point? What is the main point? That the higher the risk for non-conformities, for example, if a certification body is new in the system or if they're operating in a new country, the more often we audit them. The accreditation board, the CBs audit the forest management units, and accordingly the accreditation program, the certification bodies. Today we have 30 certification bodies accredited. One of them is Rainforest Alliance. And the control of FSC is basically done by the system and by stakeholders. We invite stakeholders to file complaints if they find that something is not okay with FSC certification or with the performance of the certification bodies. Quicker. And yeah, I continue before this one continues. It depends on the nature of the complaints. If there's something wrong with the certification of, for example, with the staff of the certification bodies, then there are different areas which can be wrong in the system. It can be that the performance of the certification body is not correct, that they have, for example, not enough staff in the audits. And then a complaint is raised against first of all against the certification body, and anybody, you. If you find out that something is wrong, you can raise a complaint. First of all, we want our members to do it. You can become a member, but you can also do it without being a member. That was the right one. Okay. So if it's against the certification body, then FSC will handle it jointly with ASI to find a solution. If the complaint is against the certification decision, if something was wrong, then it's also together with FSC. If it's about the trademark or policy for association, then, and in, especially in tough cases, we develop a third-party balance chamber to handle the complaint. Sorry, I'm an old-fashioned teacher, but I think there was a mistake in it.
It's okay. Thank you for some manual timing there at the end of our Ignite. So please just join me one more time in thanking all 7 of our speakers for their Ignite. We're doing a great job. The challenging format, You got a lot of very interesting information. As I said, the theme is enlighten me, but make it quick. So that's what you got, with some very interesting bursts of information. You will no doubt have some questions. You've got some very interesting speakers. You yourself, as you know, are a very interesting group with lots of ideas. We're going into our discussion time now. I'm going to ask our speakers to go and stand by your chart. So if you want to already make your way, you've got number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 is up here. Please go ask your questions, give the speakers some ideas, use your post-it notes on the back if you'd just like to write down some of what you saw were the strengths of their approaches or some improvements they could make. So stick up the post-it notes if you don't want to speak to them, but we're going to open it for 25 minutes now for a discussion. So it's self-service, all the time you've got 25 minutes. Please go talk to the speakers, give them some ideas, ask questions. And if you need any more post-it notes, please come to me.
I'm glad I trusted you. I've been looking good by you.
I know they take more effort to
I think that's
Yeah, no, because they have the pen and everything.
I can show you the slide.
But I did check, I don't know what happened. I have checked the previous version times and at the end but that is something you were going to check. Maybe almost 6 out of 7 You guys were not so I think the idea was to
It depends on topics.
I think you need to prepare very well and letting less information. You need to tell a story. Less you put any
You can tell one story, but if you start to see and I yeah, and the funny thing is
it's right here.
and the other gave him myself. You only said yes. Yeah. with a identification unit, and later on they be standard. And okay, we made the law and independent company, which still has a it's very much a political issue. At the same time, we have also more control for
and I get some more explanation. So what we do now is we have to do it
But I was thinking audits, transparency, Sweden was communication with those stakeholders, who audits things, who assesses the standards, why is
I also have a lunch together.
We're not getting answers from
Please